Hi guys, Martin here coming to you with my final reveal and rest of the build video for the Matchbox 1/72 RF-101 Voodoo. I did the Southeast Asian camo colour version, RF-101b, and I really enjoyed this build. I really did. I've enjoyed the last three Matchbox kits I've built. 1/72 scale, brush painting them. I had a lot of fun with them. This kit was very basic, and if you saw build update number 1, you'd see that I did a lot of scratch building in the cockpit. 27 pieces total that I put in there to make it into something a little more decent. Originally it was just 2 seats and a tub. And I also cut pieces of decal up. 15 pieces of decal gone into onto the instrument panels and the side consoles to make that cockpit look a lot better than it did. Also, along the way, I scratch built afterburners and thrust rings inside the engines, the exhausts. They were just hollow tubes. So I thinned them down because they were thick as well. So I thinned the inside diameter down, make it look a little more reasonable. And then I created an inside tube, put a ring around it with a thrust ring and then a propeller at the other end. I also had to scratch build a port side air brake because it was missing from the kit. So a lot of scratch building, but as I said, I've really enjoyed making this kit. I had a lot of fun. I want to thank Robert Arnehov. That's Robert Basicmodelling. This kit didn't have any decals in it, so I put a request on Facebook if anybody had something they wanted, or spares that they wanted to get rid of, get in touch with me. Rob got in touch with me and he kindly sent me the decals for the Southeast Asian version. So thanks Rob for that. That allowed me to get this kit completed. And I hope you like the gift I sent you, Rob. And I look forward to seeing you build it when you do. Alright, so I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. We're going to go into the next video, which is showing the rest of the build from where we left off. Update number 1 was showing the scratch built cockpit tub. So I'm going to take it from there, show the full build from there, and then after that we'll do the final reveal. So if you enjoy it guys, just as much as I enjoyed building it. Tally-o, chocks away. So let's take a look at the box and its contents. This is the front of the box, the artwork. That's the rear of the box, showing the 3 different options. I decided to model the second option. We have a 4-page booklet that folds into 2. So when you fold it out, it's one large booklet with 4 sides. They're the colour callouts. Then the first page on the inside of the assembly instructions shows assemblies 1, 2, 3, very basic. And there's 4, 5 and 6 and 7 at the bottom of that first page on the inside. And at the very bottom, the different options for the nose cowling. On the second page on the inside there's assembly instructions 9, 10 and 11, and at the bottom 12, the final instruction for fitting undercarriage. And then right at the bottom of the page it gives you colour callouts for different details. And then on the back side we have the 3 colour callouts and decal placements for the 3 versions. And as I said, I did version 2, the RF-101b version. There's 3 large sprues, a medium green colour sprue, a dark green colour sprue, and then there's a black sprue. Also included are 2 clear sprues. The first clear sprue is the canopy and the front windshield. and they also provide a stand option to have it in a flying position. So let's get on with the build. First I wash the parts in warm soapy water, let them dry naturally in air. Set up my desk while they were drying, get ready for the build. And as we saw in build update number 1, I scratch built the very basic cockpit, which was just 2 seats in that tub. I added 27 scratch built parts, and then I chopped up spare decals. 15 sections of decals were added to the side consoles, and 2 instrument panels, the rear instrument panel and the front instrument panel, which is this one here. So after building the cockpit, it was time to put that into the fuselage halves. So I got the 2 fuselage halves together, glued in the cockpit tub, put some putty underneath to support it and add nose weight. I then cemented the 2 fuselage halves together, then started with the wing sections and air intakes and the nose. And then it was on to putting the flaps, the stabilizers and rudder in place, as you can see there, all glued together. Next I filled all the gaps, sanded them down, and then I put in the temporarily located the wheel bay doors to mask them, and added those 2 air vortex generators. I then masked the canopy and the front windshield using a fresh blade to cut the masking with. I then inserted that front windshield and I chopped off the canopy actuator so that I could add putty in there to mask the cockpit with the canopy itself, and there's the canopy in place. And after all that was done, I then cleaned the aircraft down with isopropyl alcohol so it was ready for priming. There it is, all primed. And when the primer was dry, then it was on to pre-shading. There she's pre-shaded, and after that dry, I then painted the underside camouflage grey, the light grey, added some highlights. I then with a soft pencil sketched in the camouflage demarcation lines, and I then moved on to painting the first colour, the tan, US tan, and then that was followed by the medium green colour, and finally I painted the dark green. I then masked the front end for the nose, painted that black, and then painted the air intake areas red, and then she was given a gloss clear coat ready for decaling. So I got all my decals ready and the tools I needed, and put them on. Decals kindly supplied by Rob Arnehov of Rob Basicmodelling. Thanks, Rob. Next I decided to do some scratch building. The afterburner engines were very basic, just hollow tubes. So I got Messerschmitt wheels and some bombs. I cut the central pieces out of the wheels. I cut the back end of the existing tube off, glued the bombs together, chopped the tapered ends off, stuck the wheels around those, and then inserted the wheel centers into the back, and then put them into the tubes and painted them to make them look like better engines. Next I had to scratch build a air intake because the port side one was missing, so I used the original one, overlaid it on a piece of plastic, scribed around it, cut it out, painted it, primed it, painted it, and I was ready to go. Sorted, job done. So next it was on to weathering. So I got my oils out, and I did a bleach wash to fade the aircraft. I wanted it to look faded, and I painted that all over, brushed it off. I then painted the yellow stripes that go around the canopy and windscreen, and then I put on the panel highlighting with a fine brush, top and bottom, and also added some streaks, dirt streaks, grime, oil, etc. I then took the wheel bays out, painted the inside of those, and painted all those little parts, flaps, etc. I added those air intakes and glued the engines on, and I then put on those little fins at the back there. I don't know what they do, I'll have to check that out. I then glued all the small parts to a runner and primed them so they were ready for painting. I then wanted to do more with the actuator, so I added a cradle on top of that to replicate the original, what's actually used, make it look somewhat similar. I then got all my parts, laid it out, and they were ready for painting and weathering. And that's everything there, and here's the weathering of those parts taking place now, using a dirt wash. And then did a dirt wash inside the wheelbase. And then I did a bleaching wash as well to those parts, so they blended with the aircraft that had been bleached. I gave the two crew access ladders a dirt wash, and then laid everything out, all ready to assemble for final assembly. Well, the first thing for final assembly was all the undercarriage and flaps, and then it was on to assembling the two drop tanks. And then next after that was the two air intakes with the hydraulic cylinders to actuate those. There they are in place, and then after that it was on to the canopy and the actuator I'd scratch built, and there that is in place. Then after that I glued on the two access ladders for the crew members. There they are in place. And the last thing to do was to glue on the spike on the nose, and that needed a bit of filler around that, so I did that, smoothed it down and painted it. So that's it guys, let's move on to the final reveal. Thanks for watching.